going to be a huge part of proactive advising. Now, if we use this technology right, these are some of the outcomes. We're going to meet students where they are. You know, I have a 10-year-old granddaughter. Gave her a Mac. Never used a Mac before. And she was able to use it with no direction. She's currently editing documents. She has what we call the Kelly Show. She does her interviews with her teddy bears and everything. We have to meet them where they are, you know. So if they're using Facebook, Twitter, if they're using videos, we have to use those same attributes. It's going to keep your student informed. And that's what this is all about. It's all about giving the student the information before it's needed. That's why we call it intrusive. That, you know, and it's also recognizing what your student is going through and trying to resolve those problems before they really become a big problem. That's what intrusive advising is about. It's going to also help your students come prepared, because now you have this blog or you have this information out there and they can't say, I didn't know. Those days are like almost gone. Yes, you did. I told you personally about this blog. Or I told you personally where to get this information from. And if we do this right, it's going to help us with retention and graduation rates. We'll get to keep them in situations like what Mike discussed earlier will cease to exist. Because now everybody's accountable. Not just advisors, you had the faculty in on that. You know, with so many people, and I'm going to just piggyback off of that fourth attribute from the 4 T's. You had so many departments touching that student. And that should have been caught long before. He was out of school, I think, what, 8 months? Okay, he was out of school. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, 2 months. And nobody recognized that he was out. And so by the time the end of the semester comes, guess what? He's failed all his classes. Now you have to do a petition. Now you have to do an academic plan. If a phone call or, you know, some of these mediums, if we're in place or if we were using them, we could have caught him, you know. So, for intrusive advising, deliberate interaction with the student. That's what this all boils down to. Is I'm making a conscious effort to reach out to that student. I know in our current system, it's kind of hard because you have so many students. The average department or the average advisor have a minimum of about 250 to 300 students. That's a lot. That's a lot without having a system in place to know where your students are. If we assigned advisors via banner, that would also help us with intrusive advising, because now we have a trail. Right now, we do it manually, and you know, there's really no real trail. I think when we talk about intrusive advising, what we really want to do at the end of the day, we really want to work proactively to resolve any issues before they become problems. So, I'm going to ask you guys, how do you, in your current position, how do you perform proactive advising? Ms. Banks?
I try to keep frequent communication between students. when I receive information, I send it out to the students, especially if that's a merit scholarship. I received your email and I forwarded it out to my students. I do data tracking so I can see exactly like where students are. If they have holes, I know like where to send them, who to address. I hold information sessions as well so that if students have questions or inquiries about our program, they are able to come in a group setting and they're able to get their questions answered. And I try to open communication between the advisors in my college of health science so that we're in constant communication. It's open communication. If I do need to send a student over to them, I try to cut out a lot of the runaround for students by speaking to whoever they need to go to directly, and then they are expecting them when they come.
I think that is so awesome that you use that, because it's so helpful on so many levels. It's like they care. They care enough to go there before me, so when I get there, I won't have a difficult time because a call has been made. And we know that works.
Yeah.
We know it works. You've used that medium a few times yourself. You know, I've had people call on my behalf, and then when I get there, I feel important. I feel special. You know, I walk through, I'm currently doing some workshops for my church, and I give the people a particular person's name, and then they go and they ask for her. And, you know, because Tenell sent them, you know, she gives them special attention. And which one of us don't want to feel special? So I applaud you, Ms. Pat, because I think the university as a whole should have that mentality. And those are great retention, proactive, and, you know, that should be emphasized throughout the whole university. We may do a session on that and put Ms. Payne's face on there as the initiator. She's sitting back there saying no. But it is so awesome. It is really awesome that it says so much about the way you work in your department, because you went beyond the call. See, a lot of us would just send the students over there, and that's going to allow the student to get frustrated. If they're flunking their classes, if their money's not okay, and now I have these other issues, you know, by the time I get to that next person, I'll probably have a bad attitude, you know. And she alleviated all of that by making a call, which took her, what, 3 to 5 minutes at the most? So now, when that student goes see another student and they say, oh, I work with Miss Payne, she's going to remember Miss Payne for that. You know, so we applaud you for the proactive advising. Really awesome. So, again, perfect example of not letting issues become problems. That's where we get in trouble. Is when we just sit on it, we do nothing about it. We all have busy days, you know, but we have got to start thinking in a proactive, intrusive mindset. It's okay. Some of the academic advisors actually go to their students' class to meet with their students, such as Mike mentioned that he used to do as an academic advisor. I recognize that other advisors may not be able to get away, but it is another entity that maybe we may want to think about, because they need to know that you're checking on them, you know, even if you just go by to say hi. So, again, we have Web 2.0 that we can use. We have Moodle. I'm sure Mike will work with us, and maybe we can do a blog as a pilot and see how that advisor, you know, maybe both of you guys could be our pilot and see how you like it, and we could work together and work out the kinks and so forth. Yes, ma'am.
With talking to students, like virtually, Facebook, Twitter, and things of that nature, is there like legal aspects that we need to worry about?
Absolutely, absolutely. I wouldn't put anything but general information on there. But the other thing I would do, and I can research this, no problem. I know we have Twitter and Facebook accounts here in the university. So I would reach out to one of those departments to see what they're doing, and then I would probably research what we should and should not. That's going to come into play as well with the banner notes.
Okay.
So when we start talking about putting data out there, we do have to be very, very mindful of what we put out there.
To piggyback on the confidentiality, I have some students, I can't see any of their information. Their list is confidential.
Okay, and
So
it's
that's
blacked
why I
out.
was worried if
It's
they
blacked
were-
out for you?
Yeah, like it says confidential, and it doesn't give any information. Like I couldn't pull up a student's schedule. She was asking me about her classes, and I couldn't pull it up because her information was listed as confidential. I'm like, is there something I'm supposed to know that I don't know because I can't see any of your information?
And see, I'm wondering if, because I know the department's internal can see that information.
Like
So-
the registrar?
Mhm. So I'm wondering if they put that for anybody who don't have access to, but you have to have access to a certain screen. What screen, what form were you in?
That was in CSU Express. And when I've used Banner, it said confidential, and I wasn't able to pull up like the general student information. I know that was important looking at the change in majors, seeing who was in our program and who wasn't, because a lot of information isn't processed as fast as like sometimes, and I need to check to see. But I can view any of the information because it said confidential.
Can you do me a favor? Can you send me the ID number?
Okay.
And let me take a look at it, because I want to see if I'm able to view it.
Okay.
And then I'll provide everybody with some feedback on my findings. Okay. So, with the intrusive advisor, you guys advise every day, and I know you shared a few things with us, and I applaud you, Ms. Payne. I think that's just awesome. You know, you going beyond the call. Before we close it down, any ideas on intrusive advising? Because I know you've been advising. Can you share with us just a few things you guys did at Kaplan?
Well, I can definitely share some things that we've done already since I've been here. Making student phone calls, we've given a list of students to call who hadn't registered for this semester, that were enrolled last semester. Through making those calls, we were able to identify several students who were interested in summer session classes and get them registered for those. And also talk to them about different holes. If you had immunization holes, maybe not quite deal with that obstacle. So that was a big fix. Also, I think that we're developing a series of brown bags that help deal with students' issues in regards to retention issues like registering on time, and making sure that they know more about the process of the internship. That's becoming a large obstacle for a lot of our graduating students. But as far as going back to other experience, like during registration times, we would have free popcorn.
Yeah.
Anytime you feed students, put a pizza out, they'll see 50 students. You want to make sure the students who you're trying, the target population you're seeking, getting access to those goodies, I suppose. Something as simple as just putting candy in your office. If students know that you have chocolates in your office, they'll come by and talk to you, and then that'll be a touch moment where you can get a chance to talk to them about their schedule or what's going on with their grades and things of that nature. So just being inviting. I think we all just have to have a spirit of inclusiveness and be very friendly when we meet with our students to make them happy to come see us.
Yeah. Two things before we shut it down, and Ms. Payne had so many wonderful things to say. One thing that stayed with me was that open communication. Very important. You have to be approachable, you know. That's very important when you're working with any customer service or providing a service. And what I would like to see with proactive advising, and I think it really meets the criteria of proactive advising, is that I would really like to see us get away from this advising where we do it that term. I would really like to see us advising one term out. You know, so when you come see me for this semester, well, at the end of this semester, I should be advising for the fall and not necessarily the summer. And that's how we're going to increase our retention and our graduation rate. Because if I'm already registered and I get a little upset with you guys, I'm going to have to get my transcripts. I'm going to have to get all these documents when I'm already registered. So I think one of the things that we should take away from here is that proactive advising is at the ultimate when we can advise one term out. That way you don't have that rush coming in. You're going to eliminate a lot of, we don't have the classes. Because if we're advising one term out and we know our students, we can even go to our chairs and our deans and say, look, I have 15 students for this course for this term. Do you think you can make this happen? You know, so it'll really, really help us. So, any questions for me? You guys have been fabulous.
I guess where I make the distinction between intrusive and proactive is intrusive is being where the students are, whether it's physically or virtually, and the proactive is, okay, you know, this is February, we should be thinking about what courses you need in fall.
Absolutely.
So that's where I make the distinction.
Yes.
That the intrusive is, that's where the student is, proactive is, this is where the student needs to go.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. And thank you, guys. Any questions?
Thank you, Tenell.
Did you guys get anything out of it?
Definitely.
Yeah.